Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, D Funk, thinking right out here in the lab. I'm back in the book. Oh, I'm having fun. This is what Africa looked like before the white man came in and dissected into the 54 different nations. This was Africa, okay? And you see right here, everything came out of Kemet. That's the startup. All the philosophies we've been going over, all the stuff we've been talking about, let's talk about where they all come from. That's what the lesson is going to be about today, okay? I'm going to break down the tribe, everybody's philosophical concept and mythologies, and then I'm going to have a conclusion, and that should be fun. Going to be a little minute, so get comfortable. I'm ready to teach. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rule to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I gave you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life, mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I ask the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not, and knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and to Mayat be true. Again, I just showed you the whole map of the continent of Africa. Everything that was philosophical, mythological, come out of Kemet. You see the arrows is pointing to Greek philosophy, the Hermetics, the Rosicrucians, Masonic order, know about them. You got Santeria, you got the Americas. So Commission knowledge and mythology stories even spread to the Americas. You got the Arubas from the West Africa. You got the Dogon tribe. You got the Yoruba tribe. You got the Sufi Muslim Islamics who learned Kemet philosophy. You got the Essenes who created the Jesus concept. The Gnostics, they practiced Kemet philosophy. The Kabbalah from the Jewish, they got it from Kemet. Hinduism, Kemet. Buddhism, again, Kemet. Tao in China, Shin to Japan. Again, philosophical philosophies, mythology, Kemet. The last one, Asia, all out of Kemet. So let's learn where it all come from, who started it. All right. Now, from the previous essay, it is possible to understand the enduring influence of ancient Ethiopian, Egyptian religion system and their philosophies. Right there. The only place in Africa that the white man didn't conquer and colonize was Ethiopia. Okay? That's the difference. In the original Bible that y'all love so dear, get the Ethiopian Bible. And why is it so different than the other Bible? Moving on. Again, these are things that if you pay attention, if you're learning and getting education knowledge, you know about these things. They won't tell you. Though it may not be possible, watch this, to pinpoint exactly where every single historical event which traces the movement of the philosophy or the mythology practiced by the commissions of what? Oneness. Everything is on the. Everything comes from the. Everybody knew that. We all know that. It's since the beginning, it's been that. For those who try to change it, make it something other than that, that's the whole concept of changing a philosophy or changing to a religion, become a belief system. You don't need to believe what you know. So the idea of oneness throughout the world out of Kemet. It is possible to determine and correlate what the various concurrent themes of each system. That's what I've done. Every philosophy, I got everybody's religious philosophy. I just gave them to you, ran them down, each one. Some of y'all agree with, I don't care, but they all had their own concept, and that's fine. They all work if you practice them, like anything else. This guy say live that way. He say live that way. They're both right. Why? Obviously, they did it that way and worked for them. Simple as that. You get to pick and choose what works for you. Religion. The Jews took Yahweh. Christians, y'all took Christ. Okay? I took Ra. I took the mythological story from our ancient Egyptians, the original concept. So it's not a religion. It's a philosophical, mythological concepts that you can practice and manifest for yourself, teaching you about you. You don't have to believe nothing. And it is possible to determine and correlate the various concurrent things in each system. They all got the same thing. They're supposed to get you to God. And to derive a basis of what? Mythological and philosophical unity, which is knowledge passed down through the study of what? History. I study history and religion. A new picture emerges in reference to what? Our understanding of our religions. Again, there we go. And the meaning of our existence. Everybody got a concept. Everybody got a theory. And that's fine. Pick and choose what works for you and move the hell on. I don't give a damn what happened 20,000 years ago, for real. Don't give a damn about 10,000. Could kill us about 100. I'm concerned with what I'm at right now. That's what I'm living in the now. What happened before I studied, learn, understand, okay. But that gives me the opportunity to live in the now. I can make my own decision based on what I know about the past, what I know about myself. I can live right. That's my goal. And our existence, the meaning of our existence, well, and regardless of your origins, don't give a damn. They say Mars, Africa, Ceres, etc. I wasn't on Mars. Could care less who was on Mars. I don't know about the Anunnaki. Could care less about them. Mesopotamian. All that, don't care about none of them. I studied for the Egyptian philosophical concept, and I'm comfortable with doing just that. And it is possible to view what our own religious origins and the religious needs with a sense of what? Commonality. They all got one thing in common. They're trying to get you to God. I ain't got a problem with that. That's religion, again. But members of a single human race, all of us is the same, which goes beyond any regional differences which might have caused changes in what? The original teachings. The original teaching didn't have a race concept. Why we all the same race? We didn't have a distinction between color. Why we all the same damn color? We didn't have that problem. Y'all brought that problem. Y'all made that issue. And the saying, a man who will steal your God can't be trusted. Ever. They God stealers. They identity stealers. They everything stealers. Why? They want to be in control and manipulate. Why? So you can be under their rule. 6,000 years it's been like that. Coming up. Time about over. Okay? I know the prophecies too. Again, history and religion. Those are things I'm proficient in. So I know about them. All of them. The Zulu, the Dogons, the Yoruba, and the Fon, their mythologies and philosophies haven't changed. They're still practicing the same philosophical, mythological concepts of their ancients. And watch this. This is beautiful. At about the same time when the Sphinx, 10,500 BCE, was constructed, in order for it to be built, we had to have the ingenuity, we had to have the technical know-how, we had to have time to put the blueprint together before you actually build it. We talking 50,000 years BCE to 10,000 BCE. That's time when he can't tell you. He wasn't there. We got that information. He's trying to steal it, delete it, hide it, and whatever. But he only can go from what he got. He don't have everything. Why? We got it. He got it from us. I hear Klein will tell you about what the Greeks taught the Egyptians. Stop. I'm not going to have that argument. Why? That makes no sense. Why? The Greeks tell you they came to Egypt to get their knowledge. So we ain't got to have that argument. I don't care what somebody told you. I don't care what they try to manifest to show you. Just don't care. You can make your own decision. I done made mine. I ain't got to listen to that nonsense. I'm not going to argue about that either. I know what I know. You still trying to figure stuff out. That's your problem, not mine. And about the same time the speech construct, we count back that far. We go further, but we just use it respectfully. And Egypt is in what they call the northeast corner of Africa. Ethiopia, Egypt was an abundant, lush, green forest in which many groups of people lived, all together. Not separated, not lying on the borders, none of that. Respectfully, harmoniously, for thousands of years. And the Sahara, watch this, the Sahara Desert was only in its beginning stages. It wasn't always a desert. That took thousands of years of what? Rain not falling, turned to a desert. Everything that green turned to much sand of formation. The beginning stages of formation as what? As time passed, the climate right there. They didn't have meteorologists telling what's coming and what's going to be. We didn't have all that technical stuff back there, so they didn't know. When it happened, the time passed, the climate started to change and became more pronounced, leading to a formation of what? Expansion of the Sahara Desert. It's starting to be more desert than green, so we can't live here. What happened? Yeah, move away from there. As the annual rainfall became less and less, reduced with each passing millennium. That means 1,000 years. That means every 1,000 years they started to realize, wait a minute, this ain't working. We losing here. Common sense. So in many civilizations did what? Groups, tribes found it necessary to leave the North Central African area, aka the Sahara, in order to survive. Again, they're doing what they need to do to what? Survive. Two of these groups were the Zulu and the Dogon. They just went to the Dogon tribe a little while ago, a few years ago now, but they knew about the star series that we can't see by the microscope. They knew about the concept way before we could see all the stars. They knew all that already. And watch this. This is their mythological, philosophical perspective. The Zulu culture currently lives now in the southern part of the continent while they had to move, now referred to as Africa, but stories of their origins have survived in their mythology. One Zulu tradition claims, that they originated in the stars and they arrived on Earth after living on the planet Mars. I don't give a good hoot about that story being true, right, wrong, or indifferent. It means nothing to me. It's just information. For me, useless, okay, but it's there. But the move to Earth was needed. Why? Because there was a war on Mars. I was reading that left the planet inhabitable. So why are we trying to go back there? If we know they destroyed the damn planet, we're going to go back. I think going back to an X makes no sense. So again, my discernment points out irregularities and stuff that I'm going through. That's what I'm pointing out to you. See if you may understand and recognize it the way I do. But recent evidence now have been found by American Viking space program that corroborates this claim. And the evidence indicates possible kinship ties between the Zulu and the Ethiopian Egyptians. Hold on, what the hell? Okay. In the late 1970s, the Viking spacecrafts, which were sent to photograph Mars, revealed a complex of pyramids and giant sphinx face, which stares out into space. I've seen the photos. If I was not so educated to a lot of stuff, I would be freaking out, but I'm not. Moving on. Let's talk about the Dogons. What's this? The Dogon culture, who now resides in Western Africa, okay, they adhere to the cosmogony and the mythology stories, which closely follows the Egyptian systems. As with the ancient Egyptians, the Dogons revered the star Sirius as the origin of humanity and the role of Haru. That's the story of life journey for everybody, me and you. But the Savior is given to the God named Nomo. Their God was Nomo. Okay? Same concept, different name. I've been telling you that the whole time. Everybody got a different name, but all the concepts pretty much the same. It's a detailed description of the cosmogony and mythology will be found in the book they call the Pale Fox. I read the book. I got the concept, understand that too. Again, they had a philosophy. This was by Marcel Grohl, and a German Detailian who studied with the Dogon masters for 15 years. Pin right there. No, 15 years, a mastery of nothing. 20 years is the first part. 40 years, Grand Mastership. So for you to go and study 15 years and think that you understand their philosophy, you know that's just you coming back bragging about something, some information that you got that nobody else had, and that's what happened. And like the Zulu, the Dogon also acknowledged their ancient origins from northeast Africa. Kemet. Our ancients knew nothing about Egypt. It's Kemet. Akibalon, Timeri, whatever, but it wasn't Egyptian till the Greeks came in and called us Egyptians. Again, history. Please stop telling me about what the Greeks did. I gave a breakdown with them. I got no respect for them. I got degrees in Greek mythology. I know them well. Master Masonry, know them well. Don't respect none of them. Why? They thieves. That's why I know that. Yeah, I may not do, but I do. When I know what I know, I tell you what I know. I can tell you what I believe. I can tell you what I think. I can give you my opinion. I'm telling you my information, personal knowledge, from experience. That's what I speak from. Moving on. Not the side of my face, not up and down and around. I tell it what it is, what I know it to be. The Yoruba people also reside in Western Africa. The Yoruba religion has many similarities with the cosmogony, God and divinity system of Egypt. Again, that word. For example, one Yoruba creation story is almost identical, like the Christian story with Christ, to the Egyptian ones, which described in the Shabaka stone on page 48. But it later referred to what we call the Memphite theology, and it describes the beginning of being a watery marsh place. Y'all call it the abyss in the Bible. We call it the Noon. And the supreme being created the great God whom he directed to create the world. As in the judgment of the Egyptian book of coming forth by day, what? The idea of judgment day after death. Everybody got the soul being weighed. The Greeks took it and called it the soul being weighed. Okay? Well, they stole the information and made it theirs. So now everybody think that's it. No, it was the heart. Okay? The heart where truth lies. And man, we had that philosophy, had that concept. They tinkered with it and made it theirs another way. Again, misinterpretation. Or just straight out corruption or misleading you for a purpose. Judgment after death is also held by the Yorubas. Okay? It is believed that after death, your spirit of the person goes in front of God again in order to give account of her or his life on earth. We say, heart on the scale against the feather of my eye. Spare me all the... No, you don't speak. No. That's a different philosophy. Again, everybody take it and tweak it and make it to their likings. Again, I'm straight simple. Heart, feather of my eye. You don't need to talk. Why? Everything that in your heart is what you did in your life anyway. That's what it keeps record of. Okay? That's how God dwells there. And as in Egypt, the Yorubas also believe that some will go to live with relatives, ancestral worship. I worship my dad. Why? He still lives within me. The spirit's still in me. When he stopped being mentioned, stopped being remembered, then he would die. Okay? But in memory, he live on. That's how we keep the ancestral going. We keep connection. They don't die. They just go into another phase of life that we don't understand. Obviously, moving on. But when you go on to live with relatives, that's called heaven. That's the good place. Okay? We say heaven, they say good place. Which others would end up what? Obviously, if it ain't the good place, it's the bad place. If you got heaven, you got to have hell. You got good, you gotta have bad. Same thing, whatever you call it, it's the same thing. Making it for yourself. You can either go to the good place or the bad place. You just decide the fact that why. You gotta make the decision for yourself, what, to do right or to do wrong. That's free will. Thus it is said, what? All of the things we do when on earth, we will give account for before we go to heaven. You can't get to heaven if you haven't done the things on earth that you need to. They're going to get you there. That's the caveat. And they want you to believe, just believing in Jesus will going to get you into heaven. Deathbed confessions, regressing and repenting at the end of life, a well-lived life, a servant of God doing the right things when daily until he calls you home. I'm a servant of God until that happens for me. Those are servants of God. Why? Spiritually and mentally understanding who and what they are. I know what I'm doing. And we will, what, state our case at the feet of God. The feet of God, the scales of my eye. Okay? Good and bad. Your heart, the feather. Feather good. If your heart way out, that means you're good. If not, that means you're bad. Moving on. It's the concept that makes a lot of sense to me. See, I don't do a whole bunch of words. I talk to people and they say, I can make that real simple for you. This, that. Why? I ain't got to hope. Man, damn the Mulberry Bush. Get to the point. It's simple. I'm that type of guy. Spare me the theatrics. Okay? No, I'm a bottom line type of dude. Now, let's talk about the group called the Fawn Nation. Now, I just found out about them. I didn't know who the hell they were, but I know a little more about them now. And since then, I heard their name mentioned in a few other situations in the areas about Africa, so they've been around a while. Okay? The Fawn West African, they viewed, watch this, they respected the snake as the creator and sustainer of creation. Ding, 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 ding. Indians. And there it's now through its 3,500 coils above the earth and 3,500 coils below the earth. We just found out that the pyramid got stuff up under it, coils. So some of the stuff, they say myth. To every myth, there's some truth. There's some truth in it. They just stretch with a whole bunch of other stuff to stretch it out and make it sound good. But it starts with truth. Where there's smoke, there got to be fire. Okay, you can't smoke without fire. Moving on. So there's something there, and depending how they take it and use it. Now, let's talk about this below the earth. We just found out the coils underneath the pyramid. The snake represents perpetual energy, motion. It got no legs. It move and groove like better than anybody else. It represents perpetual motion and energy, and without which creation would immediately disintegrate. That's the concept. That's the cosmology, and I can understand that. Why? If something makes sense, because it ain't your thought, it ain't what you practice, that don't mean it's wrong or bad. Check it out and see where it's common sense, see what the commonality is. Then all of them got the same commonality, to get to God. And this description recalls the primeval serpent of ancient Egyptian mythology. We called him Apophis. Okay? And in the body, the serpent in the body is the Kundalini. Okay? That's the coiled serpent that wraps 3.5 times waiting to be operated. We call that access basket. We have a terminology and symbology for all this stuff. They had this stuff laid out way before we come along. And we still floundering around thinking we smart, thinking we intelligent. We dumb as all get up when it comes to understand symbolism and symbology and sacred concepts and views that we don't have a clue about. Why? They brainwash you, dupe you, make you stupid, keep you ignorant of the truth. And you got the Egyptian mythology, which is the Kundalini in India, with the coiled up cosmic energy, which sustains all life. Again, we all had that concept. But after Fawn's story tells that a serpent carried God everywhere in his mouth, in the making of creation. So they saying God rode the serpent. In Australia, they got the serpent in the rainbow. We got the serpent in the sky. I just showed you a picture with God riding the serpent up into heaven. Rainbow, serpent in the sky. Okay. But they said in the Fawn, people said the serpent carried God around doing creation. And this is reminiscent, similar to what the Egyptian story of the serpent in the sky. Aborigines, the Australians, got the serpent in the rainbow. Rainbow at the end, the serpent going there. Also, you got the main character in the Fawn mythology, my dude, Legba. I love him. I didn't know who he was, but I found him. Why? Because I wanted to know who the deal maker that at Crossroads, who you sell your soul to, Legba. Why? He got one hand with God. Yeah, he's there. But he also got the other hand down here to less fortunate, and he's the deal maker. Not a bad guy. No. Y'all create that whole concept. But if a man got connection to God, he can be bad. Moving on. They made him the devil. Okay. But mythology behind Legba. And it seeks to what? Reconcile the rift, what? Between heaven and earth. They tell a story where there's a problem. With us, Gab and New didn't have no rift. Shu had to separate them. Why? Because they couldn't make room for the people on earth. So that's what happened. The only thing between heaven and earth is what? Air. Shu. And which occurred in primeval times. These stories resemble those of who? Haru, who I tell you about Asar, the resurrection of Asar, who travels the land. We just go to the story. We don't even know his life. He had a full life, lived a life, had 4 kids, did a whole bunch of other stuff. But we don't get involved in that. We just give the basics. You do your own due diligence to find out all that information. All right. But he traveled the world teaching and enlightening people, just like his father before him. Moving on. It's the philosophy that people practice. I'm about to wrap this up, and we're about to get to the good stuff. All right, let me close it out. Now, throughout Africa, the snake with 2 heads in the form of a circle, or the serpent in the form of what they call the circle of swallowing its own tail. The reason being, a snake teeth only go this way. So once it go, it can't go back. So it will continue to go that way. It will continue to eat whatever it is. And if it's eating itself, regenerating over and over again, continuality, that's why they use the circle. Okay. And it eats its own tail. It represents eternity, life, continuity, consistent regeneration, etc. You're coming back, you're coming back, you're coming back. But it should be noted that one of the goals of the Kundalini Yoga is to develop your life force energy of the serpent power and to be able to tie it up, that serpent energy, the power, into a circuit wherein energy does not escape, thereby accumulating it and resulting it in what? The rejuvenation of the body and what they call your raised consciousness, aka resurrection of oneself. That's the goal for all the philosophy that everybody practice, no matter where it is and where it comes from, how to Kemet. So the oneness. I'm about to read the conclusion. That'll be the next lesson. The conclusion of oneness. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. This is what I like to do. Teach, give information that if you're really into this, this is good for you. In closing, right thinkers, may y'all live to be 100, me 100 miles a day. So I never know my right thinkers who understand everybody had a philosophy and passed away. What's yours?